One of the problems that we all face is that we're on the surface. We live on the surface and we're actually just dealing with things, not delving into them, not reflecting on them. We're just going from activity to activity to activity. And half the time we do that so that we don't have to deal with it. In fact, there are many people that, the ones that say, I can't meditate. They're the ones that cannot deal with the thoughts that are coming up in their minds. Because as soon as you shut out social media, phone calls, conversation, television, all the rest of it, what are you left with? You're left with this constant conversation that's been going on in your head, and now you have to confront it. And they don't want to. They absolutely don't want to. They're quite happy to get distracted and diverted. Because that is their way. If you avoid the issue completely, if you avoid everything, then everything's fine. It's like buried. Stuff happens all the time. We're all dealing with stuff. We're all dealing with some stuff is a little more serious. Some stuff is a little more trivial. But we're dealing with stuff from morning to night. And everybody thinks that their stuff is more important than your stuff. Right? You can never understand what they're going through. And when you're unable to cope with a situation, that is when you respond to all the negative thoughts that are being thrown at you. And you get pulled down. And you start believing that things are not going your way, that everything is against you, that this was never supposed to happen. How could all of this happen to me? What am I going to do? Stuff happens. And if you pretend you're in the supermarket holding that supermarket cart, there is no emotional baggage with it. You deal with things moment to moment to moment. The problem that we have is that either when something is happening, you distract yourself by doing something else, putting on the TV, looking at somebody else's life on social media, or you buy into the thoughts. And once you buy into the thoughts, that's when the emotions in your body start rising. And that is a recipe for disaster. We have to live our life holding the supermarket cart. And if you don't know what that is, that's a wonderful analogy that Eckhart gave of how we go to the supermarket and they're waiting in the checkout line and there's 5 people before you and the lady at the checkout line is having this long conversation and discussing everything, and someone else is going and returning and bringing something else, and you have somewhere to go, you've got 10 minutes to check out, or you haven't paid for parking, and your parking meter's running out, and you're getting more and more and more agitated. And by the time it's your turn and she says, hey, how are you doing? She says, come on, get on with it. And you say something really rude to her, which in turn makes her say something rude to the next person, and it snowballs. But really, all that was happening while you were waiting your turn was that you were standing and holding a supermarket cart. The rest of it were stories in your head that make you think, that make you talk very differently. If you just remember that stuff happens. It happens and it passes. And it happens again and it passes. You remain right here in the moment. You remain right in the moment. And if you buy into what your mind is telling you, you're going to be pulled in all directions. And as long as your mind is telling you good stuff, that's fine. Buy into it. That's not going to leave you impaired. But when it's telling you that you're no good, that you should have done better, you had a chance and you blew it. When your mind is controlling you and bringing you down, you don't need it. You don't need it. You have to get back into the supermarket cart mode. And we deal with stuff all the time. We deal with stuff all the time. We deal with loss of a job, loss of a loved one, loss of a paycheck, loss of a friendship. We deal with it all the time. And we buy into different, and if you kind of look back, intuitively you know something is going to happen before it even happens. That you were going to go into it, but you don't listen to what is coming from within. When something in your life is going wrong, you get signs that, hey, quit now, stop it. Don't continue on this path. If a job is not working out for you, it's not good for you, the boss will be rude, the numbers will be wrong, you'll arrive late to work, you'll be pulled up for this and pulled up for that. Everything around you is telling you now this is the time to quit this job, otherwise it's going to cost you your mental health. And one day it all blows up in your face. It all does. And if you look back, even on personal losses, and I know that you're feeling it, but when I lost, a week before I lost my mother, I had signs. I knew she was going. With the flowers blooming, I knew that was going to happen. And afterwards you say, that was it. That was it. I knew it was happening. But the signs that you see, some of us are intuitive and some of us can react well. Our ancestors always try, our spirit guides are always trying to reach out to us, to give us the right things to do, to push us in the right direction. And they don't come in a form to everybody, they come in the form of thoughts and ideas. It's a thought that's there, and then if you are in a receptive stage, if you are calm and quiet, you'll catch it. So most often people always say that their best ideas come to them when they're in the shower or right before they sleep. Why? Once you get into the shower, you're all relaxed. You're just enjoying the water. That's when thoughts occur to you. Right before you sleep, you're all relaxed. And something occurs to you. And those ideas are often the best. But there are others that follow these signs and do all kinds of things. Jesus spoke to me last night and told me to exterminate all the people of this nationality, and that's why I got my gun. So, there are signs and there are signs, right? We don't want to be following the wrong signs, and it's much better to wait and see that if these signs repeat, for you to take a step in that direction. And that requires awareness. So many thoughts we get, right? So many thoughts in a day. Some we hold on to, some we discard, right? You hold on to the thoughts that build you up, that nurture you, that make you feel good. And you discard the thoughts that pull you down, that make you feel depressed, that make you pity yourself, that make you, not love your life. You get rid of those things. That's how you stay positive. And you have to stay positive because there is only this moment. There is today. There is only today. You are stuck here. You're stuck in the moment. You're just losing it. You're not living the moment because you're thinking about what happened and you're thinking about what's going to happen. You're lamenting what happened and you're worried about what's going to happen. And right now, you could be holding that supermarket cart and just staying there. That's what you have to practice. That's what brings the positivity. That's what brings awareness. And awareness is everything. Without that keen awareness, we're all going to be pushed in all kinds of directions. We're going to be complete victims of our thought process, of our mental constructs. And it'll be a life that's floating, just floating along. Pulled here and pulled there and pulled here and pulled there. It's like you get into a taxi at Grand Central and you want to go to Penn Station, but you get into the first taxi that stops and he's not going to Penn Station, he goes to Queens. So you go to Queens and then take the next one and then you go somewhere else and then 48 hours later you arrive in your destination. That's exactly what you're doing with thoughts. You're getting into the first available taxi. And it takes you here, it takes you there, it takes you up, down, takes you downtown, takes you all over the place. But not to your destination. Because you have to know which taxi to take or which bus to take. You can't just take the first one that comes along. And that needs awareness. You need to ask, is this thought good for me? Is this thought right for me? And for that we meditate. We meditate and we meditate every day, not expecting anything, not looking for results. But as we keep doing it and keep doing it, it builds on itself. And automatically you become much more connected to who you are. And automatically the choices you make are right for you. And automatically your life manifests the way it should.